Welcome to the Women's Business Workshop Podcast, episode 85. I am your host and small business coach, Robin Walker. This is your podcast to learn about small business topics like increasing sales, marketing strategy, and what most of you ask for, accountability and ways to stay focused in your business. This is a boosted past episode about prepping your business for the holiday season and how to schedule in some time off and get all those things done in your business. I know, seems impossible, but listen in and get some tips. Also, this month, we are offering special pricing on all of our one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you would like to hop on and do some virtual coaching or in person, visit womensbusinessworkshop.com/coaching and check out what the options are. I would be honored to help you one-on-one in your business. As you know, as a small business owner, the holiday season can be really busy and even more so than usual. Our holiday to-do lists seem to multiply for the months of November and December. There's a lot of things that you may not even be thinking about that you need to get done to prep your business so that you can take time off. And we all know how important taking that time off is. I have heard business owners say, oh, there's no way I can take time off. Rarely is there a business where we can't find a way for you to take some time off for relaxation, time with your family, time to just do something fun, or for an actual vacation. If you're saying that you can't, then we need to get some things in place so that you can. Before we dive in, I want to mention the importance of reflection during this season. Prioritizing time and support to look back and assess your last 12 months is a game changer. Most small business owners I know do a little journaling, or maybe they have a team meeting and they call it good. That is not good enough, you guys. If you want to grow next year, or you want to find more time off like we just talked about, you need to do this before you set new goals or start this next year. I encourage you to do an annual review if you don't already do one. And I mean an actual strategic review. Yes, your business is big enough to do an annual review. If you are listening to this, it would benefit you to do an annual review in your business. And because I think it is so important to do this now, not wait until January or further in the year, I'm offering you $100 off any VIP coaching day or any single sessions for the month of November. We can do reflections on this current year before it's over. Yes, you can do that. Or we can take a look at what's happening right now just to better plan for next year. I've been doing annual reflections, reviews, and New Year goal setting with clients for years. Trust me, I've got the workbook. Let's work together and save you some time Googling. Go to womensbusinessworkshop.com/coaching for more information and to book a session. That discount is going to already be waiting for you in your cart. So let's work together so we can set you up for a better year next year. Today's episode, we're going to talk about how to take time off for the holiday season. And then later in the show, we're going to talk about what tasks you may be overlooking that you need to do to get your business prepped for the season. Impact Business Circle members, your digital checklist for this list of tasks plus more is in the online resource hub. So, how many vacation days do you give yourself for November and December, or just in the year in general? I'm going to have a post on our Instagram account to ask you how many you end up taking for the year. If you're not sure, go back and look. Sometimes it can be very enlightening to see. So here's a question for you. Do you give yourself as many days off or as much vacation time as you got when you worked for someone else? Most business owners would probably say no. Do I need to convince you of why this is important to have time off? I don't think so. I think we all know. One of the benefits of running the show is that you get to pick your hours and time off. Not your clients, not your customers. You get to pick. So now I want you to write down how many days off have you scheduled for this upcoming holiday season? Show of hands, how many zeros do we have written down? Okay, let's try this differently. Write down how many days you want to take off. And I mean really check out days, like you are off the clock. How about picture this? A whole day off, home alone, to watch holiday movies and wrap gifts and eat pie. I personally was raised with that being called a mental health day. If you don't schedule it, my friend, it will not happen. A dear friend from college and I, we meet at a local mall once a year before the holidays. It actually started when we had very young babies. I think we each had maybe only one child at the time when we first started. Now we each have 3 kids. They're all teenagers, young adults, and we still try to meet once a year in November or December. Long ago, we abandoned actually shopping on this trip. We really just want to talk and catch up. So we now move from coffee shop to restaurant throughout the day, and we just talk and catch up. And I feel so uplifted and refreshed. I don't check my email all day. It is truly a blessing of a day. But for both of us to coordinate our schedules and find a full day that both of us don't have any prior commitments is pretty tough. So we have to do this ahead of time and be intentional about keeping that day free and not allowing anything to take over that day or make it on our calendars. So you may be asking, how do I make this happen, Robin? That sounds lovely. Okay, so first step, let's look at your calendar for November and December. If you're driving, maybe pause and come back to this. Where is there time you can block off, and block it off now? I encourage you to try to find a couple of full days. I would look at what can be moved or switched with the least resistance so that you can make room for full days off. Half days are fine too, and sometimes are great, but often I find that you end up rushing through whatever thing it is because you have another commitment later in the day. And to me, that's not really a day off. That's not a day in your sweats. I'm talking a day where you don't have to do hair and makeup and you can really just check out and do something you really want to do. Once you've chosen those days, I want you to celebrate that you have the control in your life and work to be able to do this, because many can't. So make sure you pick your days in November or December that you want to take off. Second step, taking time off does require setting some boundaries. So first, I always say, what do you want this time to look like? Do you want to really, truly be checking out where no one is contacting you and you're not checking your email and you are really, really out for the day? Or is this the kind of day that in an emergency, they can still contact you? Or what are the boundaries? What are the parameters? Start with what you want it to look like, not what you feel like it has to look like, but what do you want it to look like? And then let's make that happen. Make sure your team, your staff, your clients, they know what is the chain of command when you're gone. And now a vacation might be different from a regular day off. There might be days where you're working from home and your staff, it's perfectly fine for them to contact you. It's different if you're on a beach and you really need the mental break from your business. On that mall day, I tell my kids to contact their dad if they need something. Obviously, if there's an emergency, I'm available. But for all those little texts and little things, I usually delegate them to someone else if it's a day I truly want to check out and I want to be off. So that includes what can make it onto this day and what cannot. If you are taking these days off and you truly want to check out, then you need to guard that time and not allow the things to creep onto that day. Like, well, I'll just take that one call. Well, now you got to do hair and makeup because it's a Zoom call or whatever it is. Just make sure you're really setting boundaries on these days. For now, if you're only up to trying to take a few days off for the holiday or a week, then that's okay. Just embrace it and really try to protect that time. So what can you do to protect that time? I always think you need to set yourself up for success. So what can you do during that time so that you're truly checked out? Does that mean not bringing your phone with you if you're going to be doing something where you really want to check out? Does that mean turning off notifications? Does that mean keeping your laptop in your office and not bringing it out and not even checking it? You need to decide ahead of time what you're going to do to set yourself up for success so you're truly checking out. Moving on to the next step, there's a lot you can do to prepare your business ahead of time, either for when you're going to be off or just for the holidays in general. I find there's a lot of holiday tasks that we forget about until the end, and it's right before, and we're scrambling to do all these things, or heaven forbid we forget, and then we have a client that's unhappy. There's a lot of room for error or customer disappointment during this seasonal time in your business, so we want to be prepared. We want to show up like a professional company and exceed people's expectations. The most important thing, I think, to start with is, what are your holiday hours? Are they going to be different than they are normally? This is for service-based or in-person or retail locations. A lot of people change up their hours for that time of year. Are you going to be booking client sessions differently? Let's say you normally have weekly sessions with a client on Fridays and they come to you every Friday. If you're taking the Friday after Thanksgiving off, your client needs to be informed ahead of time, and you either need to agree upon a different time or that you're not going to be meeting for that week. But you need to plan ahead for these things and not message them that morning or have them show up in Zoom because you forgot to turn off your days in your calendar app and someone booked a session with you on Christmas. So we need to plan ahead for these things. So number one, set your holiday hours. Decide ahead of time, when are you working? When will you be taking clients? When are you working in your business as far as doing things behind the scenes? When does your team need to be available? When are your doors open? Set all of that now if it's going to be any different. Number two, post them. Make sure you go in and update these. All of us have had the experience where we Google a business just to double check if they're open. They're Google My Business hours, say they're open, you drive there and they're not open. Or you check their Facebook page and they say that they're open and they're not. It's super frustrating. And if that's the first time someone is coming to you or working with you, then that really leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So here's where I want you to make sure that you update your hours. Your website, Google, Facebook page if you have one, and then also inside your calendar or booking software. Then contact these customers either via email or phone, whichever's more appropriate, and make sure people are notified ahead of time if your hours are going to change. And for most people, they are in some way. So decide first and then inform. Next one is social media. You guys all know that you can schedule this out. So often we just put it off, or we forget to contact our social media manager and change things up for the holiday season. There are native Facebook and Instagram schedulers. You guys can do this. If you don't have software you use, you can do it directly in Facebook and Instagram. I hesitate to tell you about where you can find this because they keep changing which business suite or platform they want you to natively schedule, but it is possible. A little bit of Googling and you can get those posts created and up. I had my Christmas post already scheduled in October. I know I'm going to post it, so I might as well do it ahead of time and get it off my list. Holiday content. Let's shake up your newsfeed. Find some relevant past content that you can reuse, maybe from past years. Chances are people didn't really see it anyway. Or you can add a seasonal twist to some of your standard posts that you do. But let's do something a little different. This is an opportunity to not have the same social media that you have all year long. If you want, you can revisit episode 65 of the Women's Business Workshop podcast. That's about capturing holiday visibility for your business. I'll include that link in the show notes. Okay, a couple other random tasks. Like I said, there's a lot more on the digital checklist, but I wanted to mention just a couple more for sure before we go. Plan your client and team gifts ahead of time. Send your holiday cards. Schedule time to clean up your invoicing or billing before the end of the year. If you're not already doing that monthly, Make sure you are getting paid. And the reason you're not getting paid isn't because you just haven't sent those invoices. So clean up all the financials before Christmas so that you're not scrambling to do that at the end of the year. Like I always encourage, write this stuff down. You don't want to do it last minute or put it off and then not end up getting any dedicated time off. If you're not in the Impact Business Circle, you're welcome to join us, and you can grab that digital checklist in our resource hub. You can go to womensbusinessworkshop.com/impact to find out if it's a good fit for you. You can also email me or send me a message and we can talk it through. As your action steps, I want you to make your big list, then choose 2 to 3 things to jot down on a Post-it that you're going to focus on first. I would love to hear about your days off. Feel free to tag Women's Business Workshop on your post or story if you're showing yourself taking some time off this season. Let's celebrate the opportunity that we can. Happy holidays, my friends. Thanks for listening, and now go make that list.